The Gleaner wants you to unfold our pages in a new way. Download the eGleaner app for quick and convenient access to daily exclusive news at your fingertips. Get it now in the App Store or the Google Play Store. Search eGleaner. Click download, then sign in or register via jamaica-gleaner.com/premium to activate. Take control of your daily read. Download the eGleaner app today.
KFC's sweet red chili saucy wings are back. Wings that still crunch the rest. KFC saucy wings, it's finger licking good.
This summer, stamp your passport.
Suitable for viewing by children, under the supervision of adults. Parental discretion is advised.
In primetime news this evening, attorney warns Jamaicans to obey water restrictions.
Education Minister credits stakeholders for improvements in CSEC.
And fresh concern about state of Cooper's Pen families a week after demolition. Good evening and welcome to primetime news. A very special welcome to our viewers on TVJ International in the Cayman Islands and online at onespotmedia.com. I'm Anthony Lug.
And I am Andrea Chisholm. Coming up in business news, the authorities move to ease fears of 5G interference.
And later on, we'll tell you all that's happening in sports with the Jamaican Kingsmen. And guess what, Chizzy?
Wow.
There's also sports commentary and weather in this newscast. But before the break, the feedback question.
And this evening, we're asking, how have you been coping with the reduced water supply?
You can share comments online at facebook.com/television Jamaica and post on X at TVJ News Center.
Stay with us. Primetime News continues right after this break.
Welcome back to Primetime News.
And a special welcome to viewers on onespotmedia.com as well as TVJ International in the Cayman Islands.
Up first this evening, pay a fine or face prison time. The cards on the table for people caught using water for non-essential purposes, while the National Water Commission's prohibition order remains in effect.
At least one attorney explains that in emergency circumstances like the current drought, normal expectations are eclipsed.
Therefore, a customer paying their water bill does not put them above the current prohibition orders.
Romarda Lyons reports.
$1,000, the current fine for breaching the NWC's prohibition order, which took effect August 17. Failure to pay the court-ordered fine results in imprisonment for up to 30 days. Since the announcement, there have been comments like this.
Me I pay my water bill, so who can charge me for using my own water?
As attorney at law Said Bernard explains, customers are paying for a service, not the commodity.
The resource is the water. The service is the commission actually abstracting, treating, pumping, and delivering said water to your premises. So you are not buying the water in the reservoir. You are paying for the water to be brought to your home.
To drive the point home,
you can compare it to your motor vehicle license. It does not entitle you to drive at any speed you like. You can compare it to your light bill. It does not exempt you from load shedding, for example. In each case, the payment secures access on terms, and in this case, those terms include limits.
In addition, he says emergency circumstances can override normal expectations. The emergency in this instance, water sources dangerously low. Currently, the Hermitage Dam operates at 40.7% capacity, while the Mona Reservoir is at 54.5%.
So Parliament, in its wisdom back then, conferred a power on the minister to prohibit and restrict the use of water in a period of shortage. So it's not about who has the largest tank or the strongest pump. It is about ensuring equity where water access is concerned during these times. And that is the social contract, the dichotomy that we share with the government when we sign to be citizens and we elect a government.
He says ultimately, there are other public health factors considered.
The government has to balance priorities, the hospitals, the schools, in this case, your drinking and sanitation, over a dirty car or an empty swimming pool or a dry lawn. Those things fall way down the totem pole, and the law allows the minister to make such decision to manage the resource, the limited resource that we have during a drought, to ensure that we can hold on for as long as possible.
South Africa, Australia, the United Kingdom, the United States, and Spain have all had similar water prohibitions. During its 2017 to 2018 water crisis, authorities in Cape Town, South Africa, progressively tightened restrictions, including stopping outdoor watering and eventually targeting household consumption as low as 50 litres per person per day. Romarda Lyons, TVJ News.
The ongoing sewage issues in Greater Portmore St. Catherine has again escalated. This time, the sewage drainage pond has overflowed, causing a serious fish kill in the area. Residents also believe crocodiles are also being threatened by what they have described as the worst sewage flow in the community. Kelisha Williams has that story.
Dozens of dead fish floating, the water now murky green, signs that something deadly is present in these canals in 2 West Greater Portmore St. Catherine.
Up to Sunday, it was quite okay, and by Monday, the gully flooded with raw sewage. And I have facts because the health department have done their tests and to call me back and say, yes, Councillor, it is indeed raw sewage.
Residents say the stench has made life miserable, and the ongoing drought and heat wave have added to their daily struggles.
If you notice, a lot of the fishes, they are dying. And last year, we saved a couple of the, I think about 8 or 9 crocodiles died. We called the Nipper people and they turn up and reported to the NWC, and they said they are going to do it, and I know we haven't gotten a response. And right now, the sewage itself, it dried up, and because of that killing the crocodile.
And the dead fish would seem to me that, you know, not getting enough oxygen, that's why they are dying inside the water. But the stench is what affects us most. because when it is like this, it is all over the community. For people who have asthma and respiratory problem, it really is a bothersome to them.
The source of the problem, the National Water Commission's wastewater treatment plant that has been causing issues in the community for years. In 2024, after years of frustration, staff at the Greater Portmore High School took to the streets in protest about the foul smell coming from the plant. In 2025, the NWC promised to fix the issue by debushing specific areas along the plant, continuous rehabilitation of the plant, and disinfection measures. Adjustment of the schedule to ensure that waste is dumped outside of school hours, and the installation of aerators.
And they got that, which is called an aerator, to reduce the stench that was coming from. That's the purpose of it, basically.
Kelisha Williams, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, our news team tried to get a comment from the National Water Commission on the issue, but we were unsuccessful.
Farmers in St. Elizabeth are again counting millions of dollars in losses from another bushfire, this time in Nemhard Town Junction. It has prompted another call for farmers to be careful about certain practices during the dry times. Krista Campbell reports.
Heat no one wants, and fires that only make things worse. Another bushfire in St. Elizabeth has once again left farmers counting millions in losses and asking how it all started. Wednesday's fire started about 6 o'clock in the morning and destroyed over 40 acres of crops plus farm equipment. Devon Perkins says he had just planted his crops.
I have losing 10,000 whole of tomato, within 3,000 whole of sweet pepper, and 5,000 whole of watermelon. And within everything would be actually 3 acres of garden would lose by. And the land that the fire up until now it got finished.
2 fire units, one each from the Santa Cruz and Junction stations, responded and eventually got the blaze under control.
I losing 1,000 gallon drum and 25 roll of drip hose. Plus the main hole that the drip hose collect onto, that is about 7 or 8 rows after the main hose there.
Franklin Witter is Member of Parliament for St. Elizabeth South Eastern and also State Minister for Agriculture. While again warning farmers against the dangerous land clearing practice of slash and burn, he stressed that other activities also contribute to the devastating fires across several parishes in recent times.
We want to encourage the farmers just to be very, very careful as they seek to prepare for the upcoming rainy season. Most people, especially in the southern part of St. Elizabeth, would engage in the usage of a lot of guinea grass for mulching, as you are aware. And that also is like a fuel to the fire. And whenever we have these fires, then the presence of the guinea grass will create even more serious spread of the fire.
He's also reminding farmers who've already suffered losses in previous fires of the Agriculture Minister's commitment to helping them. Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
Still to come this evening, UWI investigating potential cybersecurity threat. And in business news, PIOJ says Jamaica unlikely to experience a recession this year. That and more, well, those and more right after this break.
many say is the humanitarian crisis unfolding in the area. From health issues to back-to-school worries, the homeless families are growing increasingly stressed, fearing they're being forgotten by the state. Details from Prince Moore.
It's been a week since families were left homeless in Cooper's Pen. That's 1 week of nowhere to safely perform normal bodily functions. And stakeholders are worried a public health threat is looming.
The lack of sanitary conveniences also poses a serious public health risk. And I'm again calling on the public health authority in the parish to urgently assess conditions on the ground. These families cannot be left in limbo. They need action, support, and to know their government has not forgotten them.
In another 2 weeks, schools will also reopen, and many of the students and their parents in Cooper's Pen are uncertain what back to school will look like. Many of their supplies and documents were destroyed, along with their other belongings by the bulldozers.
I'm especially concerned for the women and children affected, many of whom lost their back-to-school supplies as the new term approaches. And with hurricane season here, families who lived through Hurricane Melissa just 10 months ago face even more anxiety.
The uncertainty has prompted this call for intervention from the highest levels of leadership in the country.
I am therefore publicly urging Prime Minister Andrew Holness to visit the affected community and see firsthand what these families face. The PNP stands ready to work with the government to resolve this human-made crisis, including seriously considering relocation to non-arable cane lands in the constituency.
More than 20 homes were demolished in the pre-dawn operation last Tuesday, which has sparked public outrage. Prince Moore, TVJ News.
Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon is hailing Jamaica's performance in this year's CSEC examinations, pointing to gains in mathematics and several other subjects. She was speaking today at the JTA's conference a day after the CSEC or the CXC released results. Sandy Williams has more.
Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon says Jamaica's CSEC performance is reason to celebrate. She says Jamaica continues to outperform the regional average in key areas, including mathematics and English A.
Congratulations to the teachers of Jamaica for doing an excellent job, but it doesn't make front page. Maybe we can help to make it front page today. Because look at the CSEC results. Jamaica is above the regional average. So we always like to compare ourselves, but we are doing better than the rest. We are not where we want to be. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of work to be done, but there is good work that is happening.
The minister says the improvement in mathematics is particularly noteworthy given the disruption caused by Hurricane Melissa. She says mathematics performance increased by 4.8 percentage points this year.
If we look at mathematics, which is our difficult area after a Category 5 hurricane, to be able to see a 4.8 points increase in our mathematics performance, no matter how small it is, we must celebrate it.
English A, however, recorded a slight decline, moving from an 85% pass rate last year to 83.6% this year. Still, Jamaica remains above the regional average. Pass rates also increased by 16.2% in geography, 9.8% in chemistry, and 8.7% in social studies. There were also improvements in physics, technical drawing, biology, and music.
Physics, 8.3% improvement. Technical drawing, 6.1% improvement. Biology, 5.1% improvement. You knew the mathematics one already at 4.8, and then music went up by 4.7%. In fact, 18 of the 34 subjects that we do showed improvement over last year. 18 subjects. That is a big deal.
The education minister is crediting Jamaica's teachers and school leaders for the gains, while acknowledging that more work is needed to strengthen student performance, particularly in mathematics. According to the minister, the latest results provide evidence that progress is being made. Sandy Williams, TVJ News.
And it's time for a break, but stay with us. We'll be right back.
No join the manual line, tap up online. They get up online instead.
The time is an essential tip for
Welcome back, and we're continuing the news. There's confusion among schools and students this evening, well, some schools and students, about the type of grades received for CSEC and CAPE exams. TVJ News understands that some students are seeing ungraded for practical subjects such as chemistry, physics, and technical drawing. Well, joining us now to discuss some of these issues is the Registrar and the Chief Executive Officer at the Caribbean Examination Council, Dr. Wayne Wesley. Dr. Wesley, thank you for joining us here on Primetime News.
Good evening, and thanks for having me, and good evening to your listeners.
So, Dr. Wesley, we heard before the break the Education Minister talking about Jamaica's improvement in CSEC, but we have gotten some reports about some issues with the exam. So, for example, students would have gotten their CSEC and CAPE results yesterday. Some of them do not have grades. Some are saying that, based on the reports from some of the schools, they were present for the exams, but yet they're seeing where they were marked absent, and they're getting ungraded where SBAs have been submitted. What has led to these anomalies?
Okay, so thank you very much. And I must first start out by congratulating all the students who have done well and really empathize with those students who are currently experiencing the kind of challenges that you have outlined. Now, in the event of a student receiving ungraded, what that represents is the fact that there is information that is still needed to be received by CXC in order for that grade to be completed. So we are aware of some of these challenges, and we have asked and working with the local registrars for them to submit to us the information to resolve the matter, especially for those grades where it is recorded as ungraded. The other challenge is, of course, it's really normal within our examination cycle where the results released are considered to be preliminary so that the requisite quality assurance check can be completed before the final results are released in October or September. So the concerns being raised, as long as they contact their local registrar and make those submissions, we will consider them and work to resolve the issues.
Okay, so you're saying it's a local registrar, because I spoke with about 3 principals this afternoon, and they're saying that some of the parents have contacted CXC support. They're referring them to the schools, but the schools do not know what to tell them.
Okay, so we have to be very clear, though, as to which CXC support they are contacting. I'm not quite sure if it is CXC office exactly or the local registrar's office, right? And so if they are supposed, if the information that they want resides with the school, then certainly the direction will be given for them to speak with their school as to why the grade and the anomaly they're seeing shows up. Because in most instances, if we have made correction or adjustment after the quality assurance check, both the local registrars and the schools would be in a position to respond to those concerns.
Okay, all right, sir. Let's move on to the other issue. Yeah. For example, mathematics. Yes. One principal said to me that the grade for math was irregular. So, for example, when they look at the result, they'll see 1 for mathematics, and then they will see a B for CTEC, the Caribbean Targeted Education Certificate. And they're saying to me they don't know how to interpret those results.
All right. So, yes, and this is a good time to clarify, because CXC has embarked on a new innovation in qualification called the CTEC, which is a micro-credential, which we piloted this year for the mathematics program, and that is Module 1 for mathematics. So persons who have done the full CSEC qualification, and that example you used just a moment ago provides me with an opportunity to explain and provide clarity in the context of the grade. So that student who got a grade 1 in CSEC mathematics, right, would have been one of those students who would see CSEC mathematics grade 1 and then the module grade with a B. That's what you just said, right?
Yes.
A module grade with a B. So what that means is that the student grade for CSEC, which is a full qualification, is a grade 1. But what the CTEC micro-credential module 1 is saying to that student is that even though you got a grade 1, the content of module 1, you got a grade B. You could have gotten an A. So it simply means that you did not master, but you performed proficiently in module 1. Now, for some students, what is going to, okay, let me give this clarification first. Currently, on the CSEC certification, the grades are given across profiles, 3 profiles. The new modularization will now present grades in modular format. So you get a module 1 grade, a module 2 grade, and a module 3 grade. So eventually, the profile grading will be replaced with the modularized grading, which is more interpretable in a practical manner. And this is what I mean. With the module 1, that is the fundamentals in mathematics. And now you will be able to say that a child receiving a grade 1, in Module 1, they have received B, which shows that the student has a good mastery of the content of Module 1, which is the fundamental in mathematics. If it was a grade A, it would be saying that the student has an excellent grasp of the concept in Module 1, which deals with the fundamentals of mathematics. Currently, when you see application A and application B, the interpretation is not as interpretable as that of the module because now it is linked to the content and the skill sets that students possess. So students seeing a module 1 grade and their C-set grade, that's the full grade. The module 1 grade is giving them an understanding of the area in which they did well. So when this modularization is rolled out fully, the grades will be more interpretable, not only for teachers, but for administrators and students. And here's what I mean. Currently, when you see A for application, B for understanding, it is general.
Yes.
But now when you see A for fundamentals in mathematics, you now know that this is the area that the student has excelled in. When you look at the next area of mathematics, which is statistics and all those areas, and you see a B, you can now say, oh, this student is not as strong in statistics and algebra. Then when you see trig and trigonometry and matrix in module 3, you can say this student excelled in those 2 modules. So now students will be able to say the area in which, for the first time, teachers, administrators will now be able to say which area the student has not performed well in, which is a bit more interpretable than the current application, knowledge, and interpretation. So the students in both grades, it's a way of getting them used to the new modality for presentation of the results.
All right.
So their grade in CSEC mathematics is a grade 1, and that's the final grade.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Wesley. And I'm sure you use the word interpretable. The teachers will be able to look at the information and get more information from CXC in the days ahead. Thank you for joining us here on Primetime News.
Put out a press release, not a press release, but a document outlining all this so that they can interpret what is happening in a much better fashion.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wayne Wesley, the Registrar and CEO of CXC. It's time for another break here on Primetime News.
Employers, your hard contribution builds a stronger work.
And it's now time for the health report, and Shamela Pulen will examine the signs and dangers of epilepsy.
The health report is brought to you by
Tetley Super Teas, packed with vitamins and chamomile to calm you down.
Epilepsy is a neurological disorder that causes repeated seizures. It may be linked to genetics, head injuries, strokes, or brain infections. Signs include staring spells, jerking movements, and loss of awareness. Consultant neurologist Dr. Francine Gill says more cases are being identified across Jamaica.
Neurologic conditions on a whole, including epilepsy, are on the rise. In fact, it is now in the top 10 most prevalent causes of neurology disorders globally. And I think people are now more aware of what it represents as opposed to culturally what was previously believed. And so we are seeing people coming into our practices and asking for help as opposed to rubbing our patients with alcohol and putting nutmeg under the tongue.
Dr. Gill says urgent medical care is needed if a seizure lasts more than 5 minutes.
There is a couple of epilepsy types that can be treated surgically. And so we should be aware that when an individual starts the anti-seizure drugs, within a year or two, they should, if we choose correctly, become seizure-free in 60 to 70% of patients. Outside of that timeline, we will often have to add a second agent. And even with that, there are about 15 to 20% of patients who may continue to have seizures.
She also warns persons against driving until their seizures are under control.
Patients should avoid heights, should not swim unsupervised. They should not scuba dive. They shouldn't even lock their bathroom doors. They should close them, even their bedroom doors, so that if they are having a seizure, their relatives can gain prompt access to them. They should actually maintain good sleep hygiene because a tired brain increases the likelihood of seizures.
With your health report, I'm Shamela Pulen wishing you good health.
The health report is brought to you by
Tetley Super Teas, packed with vitamins and chamomile to calm you down.
And ahead of the responses to our feedback question, Dion Jackson Miller is here to give us a preview of what's coming up in all angles. Dion?
Yes, Andrea, and you know, tensions and emotions still running high over the Cooper's Pen demolition. That's what we're looking at today. What has happened so far? Where are we now? And where do we go from here? That's all angles. That's coming up right after primetime news at 8:30. Log, over to you.
Thank you so much, Dion. And this evening we are asking our viewers, how have you been coping with the reduced water supply? Our first response comes from Natasha, who says, once I can continue to bathe twice per day, I will continue to live. Dirt kills. We have another response from Audley, who says, have not seen much of a significant difference in the water supply to date. I'll keep those comments coming. Facebook.com/Television Jamaica and post on X at TVJ News Center. Now, the business day and news from overseas are all after the break, so please stay with us.
waves are being carefully managed and protected. The authority pointed to safeguards in place to ensure 5G can operate alongside some of the country's essential services without harmful interference.
You can't see it, but in recent years, more Jamaicans are relying on it daily. From a phone call, a television signal, to communication between an aircraft and the air traffic control tower on the ground. They all depend on radio frequency spectrum. And with 5G now being rolled out in Jamaica, more attention is being placed on how the limited resource is managed.
Because we do technical analysis on every application coming in, we ensure public safety. Safety is our number one priority when it comes to managing spectrum.
But internationally, the introduction of 5G has not been without questions. In fact, one of the most prominent concerns has involved aviation, particularly whether some 5G frequencies operating close to those used by aircraft's radio altimeters could cause harmful interference. Radio altimeters help aircrafts determine their height above ground, information which could be very important during landing and in poor visibility. But could Jamaica face a similar problem? We put the concerns to the Managing Director of the Spectrum Management Authority, Dr. Maria Myers-Hamilton.
In Jamaica, we work very closely with the Civil Aviation Authority, and they are priority. So anything affecting that band is a no-no. It never happens. And if it happens, we're on it. They are our priority. And people can attest who work at the Civil Aviation, the responsiveness.
The issue extends far beyond aviation. Police communications, maritime operations, and other critical services all require access to frequencies without harmful disruptions. Dr. Myers-Hamilton insists the frequencies are planned, coordinated, and monitored.
These bands are protected, what you call protective bands. They're not assigned, and nothing near them is assigned. So 5G will never go near aviation or maritime or any safety band. And in fact, the government of Jamaica has taken a decision to actually reserve spectrum for emergency telecommunications, which is also critical.
However, those safeguards do not remove the need for vigilance, and so the voice of regulators and telecoms providers remain critical. As Jamaica pushes further into the 5G era, the SMA insists it will continue to ensure competition for spectrum does not become interference, especially where critical systems and public safety are concerned.
There are significant increases for motorists who use diesel, but other motorists will pay slightly more for fuel effective tomorrow. Automotive diesel and ultra-low sulfur diesel will see a significant $4.50 being added to their price. Each liter of 87 gasoline will be increased by $1.43, while 90 gasoline will go up by 25 cents. However, kerosene will see its price increased by $4.50. The cost of propane will see a 93-cent increase, while butane will be increased by 25 cents. The JSE index declined by 111 points today, while the junior market index advanced by 15 points. The winners were led by MFS Capital Partners, Spur Tree Spices, Derrimont Trading, Kingston Properties, and Consolidated Bakeries. The losers include Cygnus Real Estate Finance US dollar shares, Cygnus Real Estate Finance Jamaican dollar shares, Innovative Energy Group, Jamaica Broilers Group, and First Rock Real Estate Investments. 19 stocks traded firm. And at the end of foreign currency trading, banks and cambios were selling the US dollar for an average $159.40. The Canadian dollar is being sold for $115.19. The pound is going for $216.36, while the euro is selling for an average $187.42. And that's it for the Business Day news from overseas, right after this break.
The Business Day on Wednesdays, brought to you by...
With Sagicor Life, you have access to affordable life, critical illness, hospital indemnity, and health insurance. Coverage for all. Care for you.
Now, if you plan to travel for Christmas, you may want to start looking at a flight from now. In an unusual and expensive year for air travel, experts say the time to move end-of-year travel is now. We have more from the CNN.
It's not just fuel costs that are pushing airfares higher. Demand has remained resilient, and travel experts say waiting too long to book holiday tickets could leave some consumers out in the cold.
Experts say this year's holiday travel landscape is shaping up different than last year's.
Last year at this time, I had really good news for consumers, which was airfare was down. This year, it's completely the opposite story.
Clint Henderson, managing editor for travel website The Points Guy, says their fare tracking already shows holiday fares climbing.
Right now, we're seeing prices up anywhere between 13 and 18% for holiday flights. I think that could spike to 30% or even more if people wait too long.
Airfares are up more than 25% over last year, according to the latest government inflation data. The Iran war has pushed oil prices higher, and airlines are shelling out more for jet fuel costs. But PointsPath founder and CEO Julian Keel says flyers are playing a part too.
People still want to travel. Even as prices go higher, demand is not decreasing. That means airlines can keep those prices high, especially at key holiday time.
For November and December flights this year, Henderson says the booking timeline has changed.
Usually you have till almost Halloween in many cases to get the best deals. This year we're throwing that playbook out the window. We're telling people, go ahead and book your holiday flights now.
Keel also says lock in fares now if possible, but keep up the search.
Some wonderful tips there from the CNN. And the primetime news package continues with the sports right after this break.